We've been McKee, West Rucker, Go Vols 24/7 here in Omaha with our Around the Horn at Charles Schwab Field, where we just witnessed an all-time classic of a game, not just in College World Series history, but also in Tennessee baseball history. Tennessee had no business winning that baseball game at times. I don't want to say no business at all winning, because the resiliency, the grit, the determination, the ability to put things behind them, that's what allowed them to come back and win, and that is a heck of a trait to possess as a team. But Tennessee trails by 5 at one point, takes a huge haymaker from Florida State. It did not look pretty in the middle innings. They score a run in the 8th inning to chip away, and then they score 4 in the 9th to win it. And last thing, real quick before I throw it to you, Wes, Christian Moore, all-time great performance, hitting for the cycle. Blake Burke coming through with the game-tying 2-run single up the middle on a full count with 2 outs, and then Dylan Dreiling walking it off with an opposite field double. Just a win that people will talk about for a very, very long time around here.
Yeah, they remember how things end, right? Like, Phil Fulmer used to say in football, they remember what you do in November. They remember how things end. And so, yes, that's how it ended, right? But I think what you said, a really interesting point, is it's kind of hard to say Tennessee had no business winning the game. I kind of think Tennessee really had no business winning the game, because it's you walk 9 guys and commit 3 errors, really was more like 5 in a game. Here, against the kind of teams you're playing here, you're almost never going to win. Now, whether we say deserve or doesn't deserve, that's a fair argument. But regardless, Tennessee, unbelievable fight to come back and win that game. Maybe got a break here or there. The Blake Burke thing, sometimes you need a break, right? Comeback wins almost always have that spark, that flashpoint, that kind of moment where one team remembers it as, oh, great call that went the right way, and the other team just, you never forget it, right? Jabbar Gaffney in the end zone, those kinds of things. And so, unbelievable game, Christian Moore, unbelievable, great fight, but, you can't play like that ever again and then win another game in this thing. You gotta play better than that.
No, and it's real odd to say, because what you're saying is right about the defense and the pitching, but you're going to tell the offense they don't deserve to win after scoring double-digit runs on almost 20 hits? The offense was spectacular from start to finish and allowed them to overcome mistakes. And I thought Tony Vitello summed it up perfectly, that when you compete the way that Tennessee competed tonight, it allows you to overcome mistakes. And to me, that was absolutely the definition of tonight's win, with a lot of skill involved, obviously.
Oh, I agree. I think, listen, when you get 4 consecutive, 2-out hits, many with 2 strikes in the bottom of the 9th inning like that, that's as clutch as it gets, right? And I'm not going to sit there and tell the offense, no, you didn't deserve to win that game. But overall, holistically, if you're looking at, I need my 27 guys on this active roster to play well enough to win a game, Tennessee basically put itself in a situation where it had to get an inside straight draw, and it had to play balls out. And it did both of those things, right? Both of those things happened, and it won the game. It's not going to happen a lot, but when it does happen, it's special. And I'll tell you, Moore with 2 strikes, I think Amick may also have been. Burke absolutely was, there were a lot of moments, the pinch hit there from Cannon Peebles, right? 2 strikes also. He draws the walk, right? Cal Stark pops out, but doesn't hit into a double play. So you keep the line moving. It's all right. Get back to the top. That's what Tennessee wanted, what Florida State did not want. And you could tell how much Link Jarrett admitted that after the game. I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, when you get back to the top of that lineup, you just know how much tougher things are about to get.
Those are 4 straight professional baseball players waiting for you.
Yeah, they are. And they're guys that anytime that we criticize them, you're poking holes, because they're usually so good that different guys are held to a different standard when they're that good, right? But they're just unbelievably good baseball players. And this is the kind of moment, I'll just say it, Ben, when you go back and look at any championship run, how many times do they start or feature something like this? Something that looks like it's done, and it all of a sudden isn't, and now you got momentum. Right now, momentum's as good as your next starting pitcher. Beam's got to keep this thing moving. They need him to go out there and shove up there better than he has the past couple of weeks. But just, to get away with one, the way they played through about the first 2/3 of that game, to get away with that and to fight back and win it, they'd probably like to go out there and play again right now.
Yeah, they showed why they're the number 1 overall seed in the field, I think, even though they did play poorly at times. And I like what you said there, because I've been joking with everybody that I've seen and been texting with, that's the start of the championship DVD. That's what it feels like. There's obviously a lot more wins to come if they are to win the national championship, but that's kind of been my running joke Two guys that we need to talk about a little more offensively. Christian Moore was big. Blake Burke was big. So was Dylan Dreiling and Kavaris Tears. The corner outfielders, they were huge tonight. Tears with a 2-run homer, a triple to lead off the bottom of the ninth, and then Dean Curley sac fly to get the rally going. And then Dylan Dreiling with 3 hits. I know 2 of the 3 drove in runs for sure. He had an early RBI single. And I think he may have had a second one, but I'm blanking right now. There's so much that happened. And then obviously the big knock. I mean, the corner outfielders, everybody talks about Amick and Burke and Moore. Those 2 guys are going to be drafted within the top 100 picks for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, it goes back to something Moore said after the game, right? That there's a comfort in knowing that your brothers always have your back. That doesn't mean you know which brother it's going to be, right? I mean, you think about this, guys who have been so great lately in some situations, like Ensley and Stark, you know, they had a night that they will not want to remember, right? But other guys like Dreiling, who, you know, has been a little hit or miss lately, had some big moments, but also a couple games where his balance and timing looked off. Man, he got it back today, and it was really, really big. And Tears, I mean, you know, a dude sitting like that in a 6-hole is a cheat code. I mean, that's a cheat code. It really is. I mean, it's just, you should not have a 6-hole hitter who can do the kind of things that he can do. It's why you're the number 1 team in the country. But, I mean, there were so many, when you have this many good players, it doesn't mean that you can get away with anything, but it makes it a little easier, right? Like, how many times in the past few years do maybe like in Alabama or Georgia football or somebody like that say, well, you know, this tackle wasn't great, this linebacker wasn't very good, but the running back ran for 400 yards, or you know what I mean? Like, they have enough guys that they've got guys who can pick you up, and that's why you got to build rosters. That's why Tony Vitello recruits like a maniac and coaches like a maniac, because he wants the dudes to go win this thing, and they get a break, and maybe now they will. I mean, they hadn't won the first one here. You know, like they've been losing a lot of first games here, and they faced tough pitchers, but this was a huge one tonight.
It absolutely was, and there's so much more to unpack, and we will continue to unpack on GoVols247.com. We've got plenty of written content coming your way. We'll have a podcast at some point with extended thoughts. It may be tonight, it may be in the morning, or it may be by lunchtime. We'll get a podcast to you at some point with extended thoughts, because there's so many things we didn't cover that we do need to cover. But in the meantime, Tennessee beats Florida State in a thrilling 12-11 victory in the bottom of the ninth. Tennessee will now face North Carolina on Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern in the winner's bracket. And if you pull off that win, you're off Monday and Tuesday and a win away from punching your ticket to the championship series. So a big game on Sunday night against North Carolina. Again, plenty of coverage up at the site of GoVols247.com. Can't encourage you enough to go check all that out. We'll have plenty of coverage throughout the weekend, of course. He's Wes Rucker. I'm Ben McKee.